the person rather than the argument. In this case, he's attacking Eric Hovind instead of his argument, creationtology. Now, it'd be like arguing that the whole notion of creationtology is just a hoax just because Eric Hovind makes his living flying around the country pretending to have scientific debates when really he's just pitching the merchandise on his website. And that's not the case. It must not be. Now, folks, we're not here to talk about hucksters. We're here to talk about creationism and evolutionology and whatever my theory is on the subject. Now, I, for one, would like to talk about the implications that this has on society, and of course we need to speak about morals. Now, if Don's right, there are no right and wrongs, as Eric pointed out. I mean, when we get right down to it, our nation has already decided that we have the right to just invade another country, burn major chunks of their infrastructure, and then tell them they're liberated. Imagine what would happen if this wasn't a Christian country. Now, clearly we need morals. The only problem I have with Eric's theory of morals is the rigidity of it. I mean, you have all these thou shalties that you can't change very much. Therefore, I'd like to introduce you guys to the concept of flexible morality. Now, we don't have 10 commandments in my religion, per se. We do have 8 I really rather you didn't. For example, I'd really rather you didn't act like a sanctimonious, holier-than-thou acts when describing my noodly goodness. If some people don't believe in me, that's okay. Really, I'm not that vain. Besides, this isn't about them, so don't change the subject. Now, folks, I could tell you the other 7, but I'm contractually obligated not to. You can go to my website. I've already mentioned it. As you can see, it's not that we explicitly have to avoid being what the kids these days are calling a D-bag when we talk about his noodliness, but just so that you're aware that he'd rather you didn't. Now, chances are he's not listening anyway, so just live and live. Now, when it gets down to, folks, it's creationism, evolutionism, astrology, it's all the same thing, cha-ching. Now, I've come up with a very innovative way to spread the word about this, and you're going to love it. See, what we're going to do is we've got a bunch of video games that you can purchase for $100. Now, what you do with these games is you take them to a place where kids are hanging out and hopefully not around their parents. You give it to them, you say it's a video game, and they take it home and play it. And before you know it, you've got somebody on your website, and you know, that's cool. Now, some folks think that it's unethical to go straight for the kids. But I addressed that issue in a Carbohydrate Minute on my website, and I'm positive that after a few stiff drinks and a healthy investment in my ministry, you'll see the light. And again, I do appreciate the opportunity to speak today. And don't forget to use Carbohydrate Science Evangelism for all your evangelism needs. Thank you.
Here we go. Don, questions there?
Don, questions there. Wow. There are so many questions. Well, let me ask you this. I am a designer, so let's talk design. Creationists like to point out that biology is complex. Complexity requires a designer. Thus, God must have designed it. But I'm a designer, and most experienced designers will tell you that the essence of good design is simplicity. Fewest moving parts, all that kind of stuff. Unnecessary complexity, however, is often the result of poor planning or accidents. We have eyes. I have eyes that go blind. I have hair that falls out. Apparently, God designed thousands of species that went extinct, flightless birds and underwater mammals, and male nipples. I mean, come on. It's bad design from my point of view. If he's so omnipotent, that's the question. Why did he do such a bad job?
I think the question assumes, did they? We're going to clap for a question. I think the question assumes something. It assumes that there has not been a curse put on this world by sin. The question assumes automatically you're assuming something in the question, which is a logical fallacy, of which you've made many in this mock debate. I know you guys are attempting to be up at the ology level, keep working on it, not quite there yet. But the problem is you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. You're looking at it as though your eyes going bad is God's fault. You're looking at it as though your hair falling out is God's fault. The reason things wear down, break down, get destroyed, by the way, is actually an evidence against evolution. Evolution claims that things get better over time. Yet that's not at all what we see in the natural world. We continually see entropy, the laws of thermodynamics, for example, and we see things run down and wear out.
No, 2 minutes.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, 2 more minutes? Oh, next question. Okay, well, fine. I think, moral. You asked, you mentioned that if you don't have God, you don't have morals. You also,
I didn't say that.
well, you don't have a basis.
You don't have a basis for morality.
And you also said that if we didn't have God in the Bible, we wouldn't have logic.
Right. You have no presuppositional reason.
So,
to
what did all the
actually
people
assume.
for the tens of thousands of years before the Bible, were they completely immoral and illogical?
Again, you're assuming something in your question, which is a logical fallacy. However, I'll still answer that. You're assuming that there was tens of thousands of years before the Bible.
Well,
Some of you guys are interested in real truth and real debate. I mean, I understand the ology level here, but I really am interested in real, sincere truth. How do we get down to real, absolute, this is right and this is wrong? Not subjective truth.
Okay, Eric.
Because subjective truth leads to might makes right.
Isn't saying that everything in the Bible is right because it says that it's the truth, isn't that a logical fallacy to begin everything with?
That is a circular argument. The problem, and I'll admit that is inherently a circular argument. And here's why. It's a, how do I phrase it? It is a purely circular argument in that it's resting on its own authority. If you would like to rest, you have a circular argument as well. When it comes down to it, your brain determines right from wrong. Your brain determines what to do. Your brain determines what is reality. You have a circular argument as well. The problem is your circular argument ends with your brain.
No, it includes the environment and education.
What you perceive as environment, which is your brain. Your brain is interpreting that.
Yeah. Mike, you're up.
Well,
I don't know a lot about Pastafarianism.
I'll leave my religion out of this. That's available on my website.
I was hoping we could talk science.
Yes,
You're going to leave religion out.
Well, actually, no, I'm not. Actually, having grown up a Christian, which I'm not anymore, and I will apologize for that. I remember the wonderful feeling. I do. I remember the feeling of a true relationship with Jesus. I remember that experience, and I mean this honestly. Now, it saddens me whenever I see people like, say, Ted Haggard and Peter Popoff, examples abound, take advantage of that relationship to make money. Now, do you feel that the good done by vandalists like the one I described eclipses the harm to your faith's dignity? And furthermore, what sets you apart from those people?
A couple things there. If the bottom line is, are there Christians that take advantage of, or so-called Christians that take advantage?
Christian leaders.
Christian leaders that take advantage? Yes, no doubt about it. Were there political leaders that take advantage of atheism? We could go back and forth. It's a logical fallacy to say, because a Christian leader takes advantage of Christians, therefore Christianity is wrong.
I was wondering who said that.
Who said what?
Who said that therefore Christianity is wrong? Nobody said that.
You're asking me, is it wrong for Christian leaders to take advantage of Christians?
I'm asking, do you feel that the good done by evangelists, like the ones I described, eclipse the harm to the dignity of your faith?
You haven't told me what good they've done.
Well, they presumably brought some Christians to faith. And they presumably, I mean, Ted Haggard, he basically, the whole evangelical movement rested on his shoulders for a long time. And again, now, and it's not to say that religious leaders are representative and indicative of all Christians, but when it comes down to evangelists and men that make their living off of religion, okay, how are you different?
How am I different from them? I think a couple things. I think people can see the genuineness of our ministry and that our materials are, you're able to copy them and give them away.
Could you argue that for them as well? I mean, Ted Haggard presumably was pretty good at what he did, and people presumably thought he was pretty genuine as well.
Yeah.
So what sets you apart from him?
Well, let me ask you this. What is our standard of what is good?
Well, that's your terrain. That's why I was asking you the question.
Well, you're asking me something that I'm going, how are you going to determine what is good and what is not?
What I'm trying to figure out is for these good people here that came to see
Why
you
do
talk.
you call them
They-
good?
I'm allowed to do that. As we did discuss epistemology, we discussed the value of knowledge. That, for example, say God did create me, then my logic is here inherently. Now, if say God did create me, then my knowledge of good and evil is here inherently. So whether or not I argue for or against God, I can argue good and evil. I do have that ability. Whether or not I argue for or
I'm not
against.
saying you don't have that ability. What I'm saying is that ability is based on the God of Scripture.
Fair enough.
It is not consistent.
So is it
with the
okay
other
to take that and make money on